Today we have the pleasure of having with us Mr. Bobby Jones. Mr. Jones travels the country speaking with thousands of youth to share his story. And he is a former Division I athlete with dreams to have moving on to the NFL. He fell short of that dream and found himself spiraling into addiction and depression and lost 10 years of his life to that struggle. After making a choice to pull himself out of that struggle and discovering the purpose inside his pain, he has made it his mission to empower today's youth, and today he is here with us to share his struggles, his stories, and his insight into the things that have made all the difference. Please welcome Mr. Bobby Jones.
Thank you so much. Elizabethtown, how y'all feeling today? I like that off the rip, but I think we can do just a little bit better than that. So let me ask you one more time, because this is my last day in Kentucky. This is my 19th assembly in 2 weeks. So I want to remember when I take off from here and I go back to Casper, Wyoming, where I just came from. So I'm going to ask you one more time, Elizabethtown, how y'all feeling today? I'm very, very excited to be here with you. Real quick, I got about 45 minutes of your attention that I need, and I need one more thing, to know that you're with me on the count of three, not before the three, not after the three, but when I say three, I need one clap from everybody to let me know you're with me so we can lock in and I can share some stuff with you guys today. So on the count of three, 1, 2, 3. We're pretty close. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was pretty good. Very excited. Like I said, I've been all over the world in the last 5 years. It's been crazy. My life looks so different today. Matter of fact, I can't even believe it some days, but I believe in backstories. So in order for me to tell you how I got here today, I got to have you travel back with me. So we're going to go back to December 2004. We're going to go to Babcock Hall, North Dakota State College of Science, Wahpeton, North Dakota, room 105, and let's just say, my dude, bruh, let's just say, I'm in my room and I'm doing homework. He's probably like, who is this big black dude in my face? My mom's white though, so I can only tell that joke half the time. Let's just say at that point in time, I'm in my room, I'm doing homework. It didn't happen a lot back then, but let's just say it did. And someone walks in and they say, Bobby, what do you see yourself doing in 5 to 10 years? At that point in time, I would have stopped everything I was doing, looked at them straight face and said this: I'm gonna be in the NFL, making millions of dollars, been to the Pro Bowl numerous amount of times, and on my way to be an NFL Hall of Famer. And y'all might be thinking, bro, you wasn't that lit. But I'm here to tell you, that goal was obtainable for me. Now we stand here some odd years later and I run into some people from my past and they say, dude, Bobby, it's so good to see you. What are you doing now, man? I've been hearing things. I said, I'm a speaker. They say, well, hold on. The Bobby Jones we know, like you're a speaker. Yeah, man, I travel around, I share my story with the youth and I help them know that they can fight for themselves. And so I fight for them until they can learn to do that. Well, what do you speak about? Well, I speak about a 10-year alcohol addiction. I speak about the choices that I made and the consequences that came from those choices. Munfordville, make no mistake, I'm not going to come in here and tell you what you want to hear today, because that's not what you need. I'm going to tell you the choices that I made and the consequences that came from them. I'm going to tell you how an alcohol addiction tore me and everybody else around me to pieces. How I ended up homeless with no place to stay because of the choices I made, and no one could tell me any better. If you take nothing else home today, there's two things I need you to remember. The first one is this. Where's my athletes? Get your hands up. Talent will take you where character will not keep you. Let me say that one more time. Talent will take you where character will not keep you. And the second one, as simple as it may seem, the choices you're making right now will affect the future you want for tomorrow. My story starts in Yankton, South Dakota. Born and raised. I'm a middle child. Where's my middle children at? I feel you. I feel you right here. Is it rough? Because it's rough. It was rough for me. Rough for me. So I feel you. I have an older brother and a younger sister. My sister's 3 years younger. My brother's a year older. I was smack dab in the middle. My brother, for some reason, was deemed the poster boy of our family. And so he went through school. He was respectful. He got his good grades done. He got his homework done. People liked him a lot. He was good at sports. So when I came through after him, they said, why can't you be more like Willie? Has anyone ever been compared to someone? It's not fun, is it? Kind of makes you feel like they don't want to know who you are, right? Well, that was my life at that young age. And it was, why can't you be more like Willie? So we go through school, and I decided to say, because I'm not Willie, I'm Bobby. So here's the deal. I'm going to give you an accurate version of me, but it's not going to be the accurate version that you think, because I'm going to give you who I want to be, because I will not be compared. So from a young age, my identity was hit. I didn't know who I was. And I went through school like that in elementary, and I started making decisions in elementary school where I get in detention and get in fights. Well, later on, folks, do we have something to say? I can give you the floor. Do you have something to say? Are you sure? Okay. I just heard you talking and figured you had something to say so I could give you the microphone. I just need your attention for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Can you do that for me? Thank you. And so I'd get in fights, and later on, I'd be in a group, right, and things would go down, and I might not even be doing anything wrong, but guess who they're going to blame? Me. Right, because I was there, and I'd built a reputation of the choices that I made at a young age. And so I go into middle school, kind of the same thing, and as we get older, my brother starts getting really good at football, and they can move him up as a freshman to the sophomore team and all this stuff, and the varsity team, and I'm coming through, and it's still, why can't you be more like Willie? Why can't you do this? So I'm still going through this thing called life, trying to find out who I am. But then we get to my high school years, and my brother starts getting moved up, and then I graduate from Willie's little brother to now I'm Willie's shadow. They didn't even give me a name. They said I was Willie's shadow. And as a freshman, he got moved up to the sophomores. And sophomore team, he started varsity. And I made a decision my freshman year that I was going to stop doing what they still wanted me to do. And so I started not handing in homework. Well, don't do my homework and don't hand it in. I start studying for tests. Probably not going to do very well. I take the test and I do what? Fail. Absolutely. And see, from a young age, they put me in these modified classes because they let me take one test and they said, all right, that's good enough. We're going to put you over here. And I made a decision. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with help, but I didn't feel like I had a chance to prove myself. So I decided at a young age you weren't going to take something from me. So the end of my sophomore year, I said, I'm going to find something that you're going to need the help on. Matter of fact, when we put on that helmet and those shoulder pads, you're going to be the one that needs help. In my junior year, my brother's senior year, we're picked to win the whole thing, and we don't. We get beat out, semifinals. Everybody's devastated. They don't think we can do it anymore. That's the last time Yankton's going to ever win anything. But little did they know, we had a little talent in my class. See, we hadn't lost a game since sophomore year, and now as my senior year, my brother's gone and moved me out to defensive end. I have a little more swag this year. I'm ready to kind of do the thing. And I made it modified for them. Had one of my best years ever, and we won it. Whole thing. 13-0, state champs. Voted one of the best teams in South Dakota State history. I was first team all conference, all state, elite 45. I was most valuable lineman in the state championship game against the 5th rated offensive tackle in the nation. And I said, oh yeah, they're gonna know who Bobby Jones is now. And we get to my senior year and I have a 3.0. See, I had to take art to do it, so let's not judge that. But I still got a 3.0 my senior year. But see, the first 3 years of high school, remember me not handing a homework and taking it serious? Well, I graduated high school with a 1.6 GPA. Barely graduated. So I couldn't go to a 4-year school, and that was the first time my choices really started taking effect over my life and hindering things for me. I had to go to a 2-year school because I couldn't get into a 4-year school because I didn't qualify academically. And so I went to this small school in North Dakota State College of Science, Wahpeton, North Dakota. And I went up there and I played 2 years, had 2 breakout seasons, and I left junior college as the number 2 junior college defensive end of the country, the number 26 player overall. I had offers from every major university you can think of: Oregon, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Kansas State, top 4 schools. I was a 4-star to 5-star on Rivals.com and the biggest recruiting website in the world. Big Ten's top 5 newcomers, number 5, Bobby Jones. I was 19 years old. I said, whoa, I'm about to change the game in the state of South Dakota forever. And I said, now you're gonna know who Bobby Jones is. I ain't Willie Shadow anymore, because he went to Division II school. Now I'm at a Big Ten school. And I decided to sign my letter of intent to play football at Michigan State University. Started the recruiting class. The hype was so real. So I went out there in January of 2005. I had to play 2 years, automatic millionaire after that. Gonna buy my mom that house that I told her. That first season was a lot of pressure because I was at a different level. And see, the thing is I found out that first year that alcohol was gonna be a pretty good coping mechanism for me. And I started making choices. That ultimately led to suspensions and led to more trouble. And I had got a chance because I'd been suspended so many times. There was a new head coach. He's still there today. His name is Mark D'Antonio. My old head coach got fired. He came in. I was on the brink. I let him know the situation. He gave me an opportunity to earn my way back, and I did with flying colors. But there's one thing he told me I couldn't do, and that was drink alcohol. And after 4 months of being sober and not touching it, I went out one night with the Michigan State legend. And that night, I ended up making a choice that ultimately changed the course of my life forever, but led me down a path of destruction for 10 years. And I got kicked off the team at Michigan State. I went to a small school in Omaha, Nebraska. Me and the head coach did not see eye to eye. I went and played in an all-star game, and all of a sudden, I'm training after the season. I'm waiting to hopefully get a call, and all of a sudden, April 27, 2008 came. The 28th consecutive NFL draft ended, and that day, football went out the window, and my identity went right after it. I can still see that small income-based apartment in Brookings, South Dakota. As you walk in, you see that couch and the TV against the wall, and that couch had plywood in between the cushions. It was very uncomfortable. I spent a lot of nights on that couch. I can see my nephew's room in the back, and I can see my brother in the other room talking to my mom, saying, nah, he didn't get a call yet. And that day, the game that I had been playing since I was this big, because of the choices that I made, went out the window, and my identity went right after it, and I had no clue, and I was so lost who I was without football. And the alcohol was starting to become a bigger issue than I would care to admit at that time. And I go back to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I start working odd and end jobs, and I start deep diving into a life of destruction, of alcoholism and depression and anxiety and codependency and every single thing that is unhealthy. I just dabble into it even more. And before you know it, now people know. My family doesn't want me at family get-togethers. As a matter of fact, I'm finding out about family reunions after they happen. They don't want me there. They don't invite me. I'm not allowed home. There's things going on. 23, 24, 25, 26. And before you know it, I look around myself and I'm engulfed in a sea of darkness. I'm engulfed in alcohol addiction. I'm engulfed in depression, anxiety, and I can't hold a job. I can't keep a place. I'm going from couch to couch to couch with garbage bag full of clothes with nowhere to put it. No place to call home. And I said, whoa. I was just the number 2 junior college defensive end in the country. The number 26 player overall. How did I get here? With the depression and anxiety, here comes the suicidal thoughts. And I'm 26 years old, I'm 370 pounds, I'm peeing blood, my liver's going out. I just wanted to have fun. I was just, lit. And I remember when they used to ask me, they say, Bobby, what is your definition? When you think about something of an alcoholic, what do you think about? There was this guy named Checkerhead Charlie in my hometown. He was homeless and he was drunk all the time, and he would collect beer cans and pop cans. He would drive around this little bike, that's all he had. And so when I think about what an alcoholic looks like, I didn't fit the description. It wasn't me. I'd sit in these school assemblies thinking, man, they ain't talking to me, bruh. I'll never be that one. I was just the number 2 junior college defensive end in the country. The number 26 player overall. And now I'm a full-blown alcoholic who can't go home. And I started deciding in 2011 that I had to probably make some changes. And so at May 1st, 2011, I checked myself in the Keystone Treatment Center, 30-day inpatient in Canton, South Dakota for the first time. And I went in 30 days and I came out ready to do this thing, but to be honest with you, I was scared. And I didn't know how to live life sober, and I was living with my sister and her boyfriend, and they were paying for everything for me because I didn't have anything. And I tried hard for 2 years, and I hung on. And in 2013, I fell back into the alcohol and started the cycle all over again. You know, Bob, maybe mom's right. Maybe alcohol is all you'll ever know. Maybe life just works out for some, and others it doesn't work out for, and you're just the one it doesn't work out for. Maybe we just gamble and roll the dice on this drinking thing and just see where it ends. And I went through that mentality. For the next year and a half, not being able to stop. I couldn't quit. It was too strong. I had created that lifestyle for myself already. The habits have already took place. This time I was getting up at 7 a.m. starting to drink now. And drinking all day. And in 2014, in front of a good friend, because life was just too much, the alcohol had just wiped me out. I grabbed the knife and didn't look. Slit my wrist. Didn't even look, and it was deep. Oh my God, Bobby, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Is what she said. And she grabbed a towel and put it over my arm. Didn't know what to do. She called the cops. There's 8 cops in a small apartment building. One bedroom apartment surrounding me, trying to figure out, okay, it's this big dude now. We need to figure this out. And they finally got me subdued. They took me to the hospital. Thankfully, I'm thankful today that nothing bad happened from that, but I have a scar that will always remember that night. And I went to jail on a mental hold because they didn't know what to do with me. And the next day I got out. And it was around that time where I said, dude, you gotta do something. Matter of fact, you got 2 choices, Jones. You can either lay down and let this thing kill you, or when it, trust me, it will kill you. Or you can stand back up and you can fight and get your life back. Your whole life you've been trying to prove that you were good enough to other people because they always never thought you were. At least that's what you thought. You were so worried about being compared to Willie that you forgot to be Bobby yourself, dude. Matter of fact, you weren't even playing football for the right reasons. You just wanted to be better than him. From all those times you were a small boy and you weren't validated, no one heard you, and you didn't have a voice because they wouldn't let you have one, you decided to do it in a way that you thought would get their attention. If you have any ounce of fight left in you, let's see if we can stand up and make this thing happen. Because here's the deal, dude. Mom and dad are done. They don't want anything to do with you, so you have nothing to prove to them. The charm, the girls that you used to use and flash your smile, it's worn off, man. They want nothing to do with you, so you have nothing to prove to them. This football game, it's over, bro. You ain't playing that anymore, so you have nothing to prove there. But hold on, let me ask you a question, Bobby. Have you ever tried to prove it to yourself? Maybe you're the one that didn't think you were good enough. So do you want to try to prove it to yourself, Bobby? What does fighting even look like? You haven't had any drive since college. Matter of fact, do you even believe it? Because everything you say, it falls on deaf ears because you don't hold your word anyways. But maybe, just maybe there's a little bit left in there that we can make this thing happen. What does it look like to fight? I said. What are you gonna do, Jones? That's what I asked myself back then. I said, I'm gonna fight. On January 2nd, 2015, I checked myself back into Keystone Treatment Center for the second time. Hard County, these next 5 things I'm about to give you will make or break a path that you go down. And if you get on that path where you're making bad choices, if you do these 5 things, it'll take you right off of it. But if you don't, it'll keep you on it. The first thing I had to do in order to fight for my life was my identity. I had to figure out who I was, right? I said it. From a young age, they compared me to Willie. I didn't give them an accurate version of myself. So I had to figure out who Bobby Jones was, nothing more than that, nothing less than that. The second thing I had to do is had to put my past behind me. Football had to go down for good. My identity, my past behind me, put football down, use my future as the learning from my past. Don't let the moments define me, I define the moments. Third thing, this is a hard one. Matter of fact, this is the first thing that you guys say you can't do. I had to cut out my best friends since 5th grade. My best friends in high school, they had to go. All of them. You have to watch the people you are hanging out with. That was a big thing in my life, because people would come into my life, help me make a mess, and leave me to clean it up. Matter of fact, look at your life. Look at the things you're surrounding yourself with. Look at the people you're around. That will be a big indicator of where you are at. And it's going to blow your minds when you realize it. Hardest thing I ever did. Fourth thing, I had to find someone that knew a little bit more than me, that had been through something and got to the other side, and I had to shut my mouth and listen, because I like to talk, in case you haven't figured it out. There are some teachers in this building that know a little bit more than you, that have been places where you're headed. Listen to them, they know what they're talking about. And the last thing I had to do was figure out how to get out of myself and give back. Because when Bobby is wrapped up in Bobby, it's not good. I went into treatment January 2nd, 2015. I said, I'm done. Let's cut out 4 years of high school. Let's start at 19. How many are 18, 19? When I decided to make that final leap into the new life, I was 29 years old. That's 10 years of a lifestyle that I created for myself that I had no clue I was creating when I was that young. And I look back on it, I almost didn't make it out. And I got out of treatment, completing the program, and I started putting those 5 things into practice. 6 months later, I get a call from my head coach in high school. He said, hey, I got a nephew that's addicted to Oxycontin. Can you help me get him into treatment? We did an intervention that brought me in. I got him into treatment. A week later, I got a call from my coach. He's saying, Bobby, come down and speak to the team in August. Share your story about addiction. I said, I got you, coach. 3 months later, I drove 3 hours south from my hometown and where I was staying. I spoke to a team, my old high school football team, let them know who I was. Some of them kind of knew, but let them know who I was and my story. They posted pictures, someone else called me. Happened about 3 or 4 more times. And I finally said, whoa, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That was 5 years ago last month. Since then, I've been all over the world, like I said earlier. I've been in front of thousands of kids, impacted many. Tons of kids each week hit me up on Instagram telling me how something in my story inspired them to do more. Some kids said they were committing suicide that day. Then I came to an assembly and they decided not to do it anymore. At one point in time, when I didn't think my story was even worth hearing, now it's used across the world. And it's just getting started. My life looks different. I have good friends in my life today. I make good choices in my life today. The same people that used to tell me that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, stay away from me, you're a failure, you're a drunk, you'll never amount to anything, now come to me for advice. They said I couldn't do much in school. Now I own 2 businesses. And I'm a new author. I just wrote a book. Myself, no ghostwriter. And I see it. Whether I'm in the southern jungle of Punta Gorda, Belize, or I'm in Ashby, Minnesota, or Kentucky, I see a generation of kids that don't know who they are. I see a generation of kids that my heart breaks for. I see a generation of kids who have so many gifts inside of them, though, that can change the world, and I want to help them do that. But more importantly, I see a generation of kids that are screaming to be heard because they are hurting and they have something to say, and you guys feel like no one's listening. I'm here to say that I am your advocate. I am listening. So speak. All right, I want to open up the floor for questions. Hold on one second. Let me get some things out of the way, because these are going to be asked, and I don't want to waste time on this. I'm 6'6". My favorite NFL team is the Dallas Cowboys. In case you haven't picked up on it, I'm a Michigan State Spartan fan. If you ask me that question again, I'm going to assume you didn't listen. So, I used to bench 420, squat 570. I ran a 4.940 at 303 pounds. Yes, I was the real deal. I can't dunk a basketball anymore. All right, now we got the questions that don't matter out of the way. Do you still have a question?
Your younger self, what would it be?
Great question. If I had to say anything to my younger self, what would it be? Bobby, the world doesn't revolve around you. Bobby, you're not as awesome as you think you are. Bobby, people aren't really probably hating on you as much as you think they are. And dude, listen to other people, because your way is not the best way. That's what I would have said to my younger self. If he would have listened. I don't know if he would have. Yes? That's a great question. I've been starting to get asked that in the last year. Would I change my past if I could? No. Nope. Only thing I would change is the people I hurt along the way. Everything else that got me to where I am today. So I wouldn't change much about my past. My name is Bobby Jones, a.k.a. Bobby Bugatti. I love each and every one of you, and that is my time.